what's happening, guys? Thanks so much for looking in. And if you're watching this on the day, I am so sorry that yesterday's live stream didn't happen. Basically, the internet didn't happen, and that's what happens sometimes. Anyway, in today's video, we are going to do sort of two readings in one. We're going to use the Work Your Light cards by... can't remember her name now, and also the Starman Tarot, which just does not get enough exposure in my opinion, by David De Angelis. It's using artwork that he originally created for David Bowie. It's all done in the same style, and you might actually recognise some of the images. But first it's time to quickly feed the chickens, then we'll get down to it. Chicks, here we go. Are you ready? Here we go. Right, Rebecca Campbell, that's who does these. Let me just shut the door because the washing machine is doing its thing there. We don't madly want the washing machine involved. So what we've got here, 5 cards from Work Your Light by Rebecca Campbell, 5 cards from the Starman Tarot by David and Esther De Angelis. So I guess, guys, it's time to pick a card. This is how we roll. This is what we do. So which card or which cards appeal to you, eh? Or are you going to take all 10 of them, or really all 5 pairs, because they all sort of go together in pairs, or that's how it seems to me. But be your own psychic, make your own mind up. That's where it's at, and that is what we do. We're going to start with these two. Now, which one shall I do first? Just get the cat hair off there. Do get cat hair everywhere here. Well, we'll start with this one, okay? Oh, Ace of Cups. Now, this looks pretty much like good news to me. Really everything in nature brimming over, a bit like when you get a full moon. We haven't got a full moon right this minute. She's actually waning. She's on her way down. But look at this cup. Absolutely full of magic. Well, the whole image is full of magic, really. And we've got the lotus flower down here, which so often represents the crown chakra. In any case, it's always about spiritual ingress into the body and into your life. Even though it's at the bottom here, it's showing this great cup of magic growing out of it, really. And some very fiery colours here. We've got the cup putting its roots down, and we've got the eye there, the all-seeing eye, which, you know, people really get into the whole Illuminati thing about the all-seeing eye, but it doesn't have to be a sinister thing like that. It's a very powerful image, really, because we all have that third eye chakra, you know, the forehead chakra that looks within, that actually looks in at the pineal gland and gets us in touch with ourselves as much as anything. So really, you know, being in touch with yourself is no bad thing. If you feel uncomfortable in your own skin, that's not so good. It does happen to people. It's unavoidable. But really do try and love who you are, because even if you think there's nothing to love about you, there most certainly is, because you are made for a reason, most certainly. And so with this card, it's really about allowing the energy of replenishment to wash over you and actually come through you. It's showing abundance of growth. And the thing about abundance of growth is, you know, if you were absolutely perfect, if you loved everything about yourself, absolutely 100% of everything, there'd be no room for growth, would there? So even if you don't feel so good about yourself at the moment, you've got every right to feel good about yourself. And this card invites you and it encourages you to actually think deeply about what's good about you, what have you actually got to offer, and to draw in the divine energy to make that happen even more. Everyone's got some creativity in them, everyone's got some love in them. Use that, you know, meditate on that. If you don't feel you know how to use it, meditate on that and be ready to make it happen in your life, because it surely will. Okay, so what have we got up here then for card number 1? Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? Right, very good question, and it goes very well with this card actually. Yeah, it's the same message really. You've got every right to succeed in this life, certainly on a spiritual level, and if you think you've got no right to anything good, this card is especially for you, because that's when you know you've got something good to offer, or at least it's when I know you've got something good to offer. So focus on that, friends, and just kind of don't let anything put you off living your truth to the highest level you possibly can, because all these characters in all these cards, they're real, ascended master characters really. Some of them are more about an analogy, I suppose you'd call it, of spiritual properties and spiritual possibilities, but they're real characters. They're all from ancient mythology most of the time, but actually, we know so little about really, really ancient times. How do we know these people ever sort of didn't exist? Well, they come through to us in our readings all the time. I would suggest, friends, that they are very, very real. So tune into the Star Mother energy. Ask, how can you mother yourself? Just ask yourself that question. Maybe ask your angels, maybe ask your guides. But whatever you do your best to mother yourself, to nurture yourself, to encourage your spiritual self on your spiritual path. And that then is definitely, surely going to play into developing yourself in this world. And we're all put in this world for a reason, however unspiritual the whole thing might seem. We are all put into this world, this rather crazy situation, for a good reason. Star Mother. And this brings us to tarot card number 2 from the Starman. What have we here? Oh, it's the Temperance card, number 14. Now, in numerology, the whole idea of 14 is we're not quite halfway through the second leg of whatever we're doing. Once you get to a 10, you've got completion, and you start off all over again. It's the cycle of life. So something is a little bit incomplete when we get this card, and there's every reason for hope with that, because there is always help available with that. Now, temperance reminds us of people who don't drink or smoke or have any fun if they can help it. It's often seen as a religious kind of virtue, but really that's not what this version of temperance means. This is a very old medieval meaning of the word temperance, and it's all about balance. It's quite Libran really, and in that sense it's quite liberating as well. All about keeping things in balance, and when we actually do that, you'd think you were being encouraged to sort of keep it real and not see anything out of place. Well, in keeping it real and in seeing nothing out of place, there is actually the extraordinary within the ordinary. That is a fact of life. That is the way of all things, really. So look for what is unusual. Look for the last thing you'd expect in everyday worldly situations, because there's always spirituality and there is always spiritual lessons hidden deeply within that. The balance of this card is absolutely amazing when you achieve it. This is what it's leading you towards. And Rome wasn't built in a day. You don't have to get here right away, but that balance is out there and it's ready to be had. Lots of higher heart chakra pink in this, and turquoise as well. So there's that whole thing of speaking your truth and living in a state of love if you possibly can. And that's another very big ask in the world the way it is, but love is out there and love is a natural thing. So the closer we get to living in that state of love, the more closely balanced we are with the way the universe works and with what we were actually put on this world to do. Another meaning of temperance is rebirth, and so when we talk about rebirth, we're actually thinking about what we were put in the world to do. It works very closely hand in hand with it. Maybe slow down a bit if you need to. It's very difficult to get that magical perspective on the world if you're going at full belt and you're super busy and your mind is preoccupied. So do take some time to slow down. Think about balance in that sense as well. So temperance, and what have we up here? Let's turn it over and see. From Work Your Light, we've got the Priestess card. How are you being called to step up and lead? Right, that seems kind of rather different to the whole idea of balance that we've got in the Temperance card here, but actually it's by achieving that balance, or striving, working to achieve that balance every day in every possible way you can. Just having a little daily meditation will help with that. That is how you actually get in a position to step up and lead. Now, a lot of people think, well, to be a leader you have to be some kind of superhuman being who's different to everybody else. And that's not true. That tends to be the way we order our society. But actually, everyone has got something in them of leadership, even if it's just leading yourself along your own path. People notice the successes you have and they will follow. So be willing to step up and lead. Try and be outwardly cheerful as well if you pick this card, because if you seem to other people like you're having a great time, or you're achieving something, or you've got success coming into you somewhere along the line, people will actually follow your lead and will actually want to have some of that for themselves. I think I'll have some of that, and they go for it. So you can lead in ways you never thought you could. Really, that's true of absolutely everyone. I wish our politicians would understand that they can lead in ways they didn't think they could, because they seem to get really stuck into the idea that nothing can ever change unless it sort of benefits them in some way. But it benefits everyone to bring change into life. And temperance, not about keeping things the same, not at all. It's about understanding what's good about the way things are right now in their unchanged state, and where you can actually go, where you can lead the way. Okay, this brings us to card number 3 and card other number 3, as it were, because I do them in pairs. That's kind of how it works. You can pick whichever cards you like, of course, but I sort of do them in pairs. So let's come on to the heart of the matter, tarot card number 3, and it is a 3. It's the 3 of Swords. Okay, Swords always about having a real kind of serious think about things. And sometimes it's not telling you that you've got to have a serious think about everything. It's actually come up because you've got a lot on your mind. You've got a lot on your plate even. And basically there's a lot going on in your life. Decisions, of course, and we have the question mark here. And as we go through those sort of despairing times when we've got so much to think of, like too much to think of for any of it to make sense, there's a lot of freedom that comes that way, you know, because when something pushes you so hard that you just can't stop thinking about it, sooner or later you're forced to do something about it. There's no getting away from it here. We got a tin, it's like a purple tin with pink paint in it. So there's something about healing and love going on there. I'm never quite sure what it is with this deck, because it is a very wacky deck, but it's also a very true deck. Also such a true deck when we really look for the meaning in it, and the more you use any deck, the better you get to know it. So I'm still kind of learning with this one, but just look at the colours. Really, the colours say it all. We've got spray cans here, paint brushes here, so there's an encouragement to make that colour happen. We've got that greeny healing sort of turquoise colour there about, you know, truth. We've got the purple of healing, and it sort of merges into the pink of love, and that is how healing and love work together. Now, if you're in a 3 of Swords situation, you probably need some healing, and you probably need to get love on the case, make things happen. And we've got a feather up here, which is making me think of smudging, using sage, wafting sage around the room to drive out, you know, evil spirits in so many ways. That's in its most literal sense. But don't we all have thoughts around us and feelings around us that just don't help? Need to chase those feelings away. We really do. That's the 3 of Swords there. Just, you know, question everything. Be willing to ask questions, and be willing to ask quality questions. This chases the mystery away. This makes things easier to understand. Life can be cruel, you know, and life can seem to lack meaning, but there is always a meaning to it. So from this card, hopefully, we go forward and we find out more about what that meaning is. So what's card number 3 up here to go with that? Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? And this is how we get stuck in the Three of Swords situation. You know, we tend not to believe we can do anything to go forward. But like I said, that despair does actually lead us to want to move forward, to make the changes, to make the difference, and to make things happen. And you can be confident, because if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? Well, I hope, guys, we all know that the universe has our back. It comes up in so many readings, but it comes up in a lot of readings for a very good reason, that it's so easy to forget. All the influences around us in this crazy world are trying to make us believe that, you know, either the universe is just some space above the earth, or the universe does nothing, and we're all kind of stuck here, and we've just got to do what the boss at work says, we've got to do what the politicians tell us. And, you know, those are for real, you know, those are real life concerns and considerations, but you rise above it so much when you just think, well, the universe has my back. I've got angels, I've got guides, I've got gatekeepers, I've got guardians, I've got loved ones in the spirit world. And you can say that to yourself, because we all absolutely have got those wonderful overseeing influences out there in the universe, you know. So what are you going to do now you know that? Just think about that. It's spiritual knowledge that comes to us again and again. And like I say, it's repeated because it needs repeating. But trust your path, friends, okay? Because your path, however tangled things may seem in this Three of Swords situation, your path is going to lead you just the right way out of the situation you're in, and forwards, and really, as they say, onwards and upwards. So this brings us to card number 4 now. What does the tarot have for our immediate future? Or maybe you just picked number 4. Do let me know in the comments down below what you picked. And if you picked this one, here it is. Right, number 17 in the major arcana, it's the Star. There's this wonderful connection with nature that we always get reminded of with this star. And look at these great shots of lightning coming out here. I think we had this card in the last reading, actually. And it's a very abundant kind of a card. It reminds us of the abundance of nature. And when you think about it, you know, if nature has abundance, and we know that nature really does have abundance in buckets, why wouldn't there be nature around you? Why wouldn't there be a path out of this situation, actually? Plays very nicely into that. So I sincerely hope you're finding inspiration from this card and from this reading as well, I would hope. Dream big, really, you know, allow inspiration to guide you, because that's what all these shots of lightning coming down are really representing. They're coming from this golden Merkaba up at the top here, which we can't quite make out. It's slightly illusory to look at, because it feels like an illusion so often when we're trying to connect to the higher realms from this crazy place on earth. But, you know, as elusive as it looks, it is absolutely for real. And look, the inspiration, the divine inspiration is coming down all around this character. She's got her feet in the water, and so she's drawing down that cosmic influence into this earth. This is what the star is all about. Let that inspiration be your guide, you know, and be ready, just like we said with these two, be ready to step forward. You know, in fact, don't just be ready, friends. Do it. Step out and really enjoy the beauty of the world. Share your gifts. Let your light shine brightly. Yeah, she looks a bit kind of miserable, a bit down, but here's the divine inspiration shooting all over her and really bringing out the best. And as long as you're walking the spiritual path in at least some part of your mind, you are going to be able to shine. You really are. Okay, now then, I wonder what Rebecca Campbell has to say about this. It is inner temple, devotion, tune in to the portal of your heart. Right, doesn't this just go together? I'm always amazed how well these cards relate to one another, actually. I don't know what they are before I turn them over. I think that sort of takes some of the magic out of it if I look at them first. But yeah, devotion, tune in to the portal of your heart. And this is a reminder that we do actually have spiritual portals within us. There's the crown chakra, and of course there's the heart, the higher heart, the lower heart, whichever way you want to look at it. And we've got the green of the lower heart here, and a lot of sort of pinkiness going on up here, representing the higher heart. And there's all these colours turning up in all these cards. I'd be very surprised if there's none of that in this one, actually, considering where we're going here. But again, lots of greeny healing colours, lots of turquoiseness, lots of higher heart chakra pink in this one. And it just, yeah, it's a big reminder that we do all have these amazing cosmic spiritual possibilities in our lives and actually in our hearts. And this one always makes me think of the heart mind, you know, and scientists have actually found that there is such a thing as a heart mind. There are actually cells within every part of the human body which are capable of thought, actually, but perhaps nowhere more so than the heart. And there's a lot in the brain as well, of course. That's what the brain is all about. But it's when you can think with your heart, that's when you really kind of get further, not just spiritually actually, but it takes you further spiritually. And that new knowledge, that understanding, that freshness that keeps coming along is uplifting, and then it plays into the whole of the rest of your life. You know, you'll be a happier person, you'll feel better about stuff that goes on in your life, and you'll lead others. Just like in the Priestess card, you will lead others into getting so much more out of their lives too. So in a temple there, right. Okay, well, we're getting pretty close to the climax of the reading, as it were, the outcome card, and with this is going to go some kind of direction as to where do we go from here. Let's turn over tarot card number 5. What have we? The Queen of Wands. There she is, this big sunflower up here. This one came up in the last reading as well, actually, that I did from the Starman deck anyway. So this is obviously the energy of the moment, and we've got a waning moon as I'm making this video. If you're watching in the future, well, you've been drawn to this video now because now is very much the time that's good for you to watch it. But if you're watching right now on the day, then yeah, we've got a waning moon. She's something like 80% full, depending on what time you're watching. So the lunar energy is going down a bit, and it gets us focused on domestic matters, you know, things to do with the homes we live in and things to do with our home planet, with the earth energy. And so this sunflower is a very, very positive and very powerful symbol at this stage. The Queen of Wands is an amazing character. She is a real experienced person, and the Wands, of course, are all about making things happen, what you can actually get done in life. And just like so much of this reading, the Queen of Wands is about going forward. In this case, stepping into the creative power. She's like the watery part of the element of fire, really. So you've got to make a resolution within yourself, actually resolve that you're going to dare to break up with conventions, with the conventions of your life, that you're going to dare to break away and just let your heart and your mind, which, like I said, are pretty much the same thing, let them take over. You know, break out of those conventional boundaries and be as generous as you can with the power that you then discover in yourself. Trust that power, trust yourself, and you know, that really does allow you to be generous, because that gives you a great deal of spiritual abundance. And as we're always attracting towards us the next things that happen in our lives, this is going to bring good things towards us. So it's a great outcome card, actually, because it shows the way forward, and it shows what we can happen if we can just dare to break those boundaries and just dare to be different. Okay, so at this moment, it's the last one of the Work Your Light cards by Rebecca Campbell. Let's turn it over. Yes. Okay, just say yes. There's not a whole lot more I can say about that. It's kind of towards the side of the screen, actually, so I'll bring that in and show you it a bit more closely. Just say yes. Now you can see there are 3 characters here, so it's talking about divine help as well. For every one of you that there is just there on your own at the moment watching this, or maybe watching with a friend, who knows, for every one of you, there is more energy, there are more versions of yourself in spirit in the afterlife. Every incarnation is like a facet of the diamond, and a diamond has many facets. And the soul is a diamond. Your incarnation now is one facet of the diamond. There are many, many other aspects of your soul which from time to time will incarnate, walk in this earthly life, go through this journey, and develop and learn in this crazy world of ours. That's what it's here for, really. So there are so many different yous out there in the universe, you know. It's I forget the name of it now, but it's that thing that there are millions and millions of different realities out there, because there are so many planets. There just have to be. That's just a simple truth. It's kind of hard to grasp, but isn't a lot of spiritual truth quite hard to grasp, friends? I think that's often the way. But look, there's you in the middle, drawing down the divine light, and here are your helpers, looking in different directions, experiencing other aspects of life. But this is why it's so important to keep this journey going, to actually liberate yourself from conventional thought that we've got with the Queen of Wands here, because there are so many new experiences coming, and so much waiting to happen out there in the wings, waiting to become a part of your life and just enrich you, you know. And you can enrich yourself so much if you just go along with that idea. It makes such a difference. So with that, friends, there is our reading for today. I hope you found it interesting. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Do give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed that one. Drop a like on it, and why not hit the subscribe button, eh? Because there's more videos coming all the time, and you will get notified when I go live, which is like 2 or 3 times a week. Quite often 2 times a week. All depends, because living out in the trees here, we don't get the very best internet signal. But hey, leave me a comment. We'll share the journey. Thanks ever so much for watching, and take care of yourselves. Love and light to you, and blessings and peace.